Hi, I'm Karen and welcome to Boot the Boss. So I wanted to talk to you today about the reality of actually quitting your job and what it's like and the skills that you're going to need to be able to make it work once you quit your job. Because I think we all have this idealised dream of the laptop lifestyle and what it's going to be like and how your life's going to be when you've booted the boss. And I think realistically, well certainly for me anyway, when I used to think about those things, I used to kind of picture me sitting with my laptop, working in the Caribbean or somewhere, and just always doing things that I wanted to be doing. So completely free to do what I wanted when I wanted to do it, and all of that stuff. And you are all of that stuff. You are free to do all the things that you want to do, but ultimately you've still got to work your socks off because you need to earn money. And now the point of earning money is entirely and utterly up to you. So it's no longer a case of, oh, it's okay because I'm going to get paid even if I, spend today chatting to my friends and generally bumming around at work and not achieving too much, I'm still going to get paid. But you can't have that mentality when you start to work for yourself. So it's really different. And I think a great thing to do is, while you're still working for the man and you've still got that guaranteed income, is to spend that time building up the skills that you are going to need, definitely. And I'm going to talk you through those for when you actually do boot the boss, to make sure that you can pay your bills and pay your rent and pay your mortgage and all of that sort of stuff. Because we all have these dreams, but the reality is it's tough. It's really tough, and you need to make sure that you've got the skills to be able to get through it when you no longer have that guaranteed income. And I think the first thing I think I've learned really since booting the boss is that there are idiots everywhere. I think when I worked in the corporate world, I kind of thought, well, when I don't work in the corporate world anymore, I won't be subjected to such idiots at times. But no, they're everywhere. They really are. And there's just as many, probably more actually, now in the business world than there are in the corporate world. Because when people all work together, you have to maintain an element of being polite and being friendly and behaving as you should at work. But when people are in business, you're down to them being a decent human being. And whilst most of us are, there are some people who really, really, really try and take the mickey out of you, really try and take advantage of the situation, and are not particularly nice, not particularly polite, and generally, I kind of didn't necessarily expect that. Maybe that's a bit of naivety on my point, but I just kind of expected people to behave nicely and to be polite and to treat them as treat me as I treat them. And no, that's not the case. It doesn't happen. It really doesn't happen. So I think the first thing to think about is your tolerance of idiots has to be really, really, really good when you run your own business. Really good, like really, really good. So definitely that's something to think about, is how you manage that and how you feel about working with people like that. And now, to some degree, when you've got your own business, you can just take them naff off. So if they really get on your nerves, if they're your client, they don't have to be your client, you can just tell them to naff off. You can work with whoever you want, which is different than it is at work, because obviously when you're at work you have to work with whoever you're given. But when you've got your own business, you can just tell them to naff off. But that's the first thing. I think your tolerance of idiots, you really have to work on that, to make sure your people skills, to make sure you can manage that, because it's tough. And I think the other thing that's really hard is something you need to be really, really aware of yourself with, is your ability to self-motivate yourself. Because when you go to work, you're forced to go to work because you promised the boss you will, and that's what you promised to do. But when you're self-employed, it's entirely and utterly up to you. So when you work, is entirely up to you, which brings huge amounts of benefits. And I love that element of it. It's fantastic knowing that I'm in complete control of my day. But when you're in complete control of your day comes a huge amount of responsibility to make sure you do what you need to do. And in some degrees, if you're relying on yourself to pay the bills, then it's probably quite easy to make sure you motivate yourself. And most of the time I motivate myself all right. Most of the time I don't struggle with that. But it's something that's definitely to be aware of. So if you're someone that struggles to get motivated, struggles to be bothered to do what you need to get done, you need to really work on upping those skills before you boot the boss. Because you're going to really struggle when there's nobody there. You're not accountable to anybody else. You're only accountable to you. You know, especially if you've got a partner that's paying all the bills and such like as well, and earning money, then it's even more important that you make sure you up your skills in being able to motivate yourself. Because if you're not relying on you to pay the bills, it's all too easy just to slip into a more chilled weekend vibe where you don't get the work done. You know, you need to be working 15, 16 hours a day, every day, if you're going to build a successful business. You know, you can't sit there just thinking, oh, I'll just take it easy this morning, watch a bit of Jeremy Kyle or whatever you do. You know, you can't. You've got to be on it all of the time, and you've got to be able to motivate yourself to do that. So, you know, Booting the Boss is hugely exciting, and there are massive, massive benefits. You know, and it's a dream that I shared with you for a long time, and I still share because, as I say, I'm still working hard. Although I've booted the boss, I'm working very, very hard to make sure that I solidify that freedom that I've built, because, you know, I've got to work. You've got to work and keep working at it, and it's not just something that happens. But definitely, I think they are the two main things that you really need to think about, and make sure you've got the skills, people skills, to deal with those idiots. Because when you're at work, you can just walk away from them and they have little impact on your life. But when you've got to deal with idiots in your business, and sometimes like haters and stuff, and people who are out to ruin you and you've done nothing to them, nothing whatsoever, but they're determined to try and ruin your business, you've got to have a think about how you're going to deal with that, and how you're going to make sure that you come out okay and your business doesn't take a knock. And it's difficult to stay calm in that situation, because it's really difficult, because they're bashing your only source of income, potentially your business, your income, and people are bashing you or bashing your income, and you've got to learn those people skills to be able to cope with people like that. And it's an ongoing battle. I don't think any of us are ever perfect in managing our people skills, and it's an ongoing battle to deal with the haters and to not let them damage you or your business, because you care about it so much more when it is your income, when it is your life. You care about your business much more than you do. You still care about it an awful lot, obviously, when you've got a job, but when you're out on your own, building your own business, finding your own way, you know, you become very, very passionate about it. And, you know, that's something that, you know, sometimes I find really challenging to deal with, because you just want to, you know, tell people exactly what you think, and you can't. You really can't. So, you know, people skills and being able to cope with people when they bash you, and definitely self-motivation, are two of the biggest things that you can work on now that will really, really help you when you get to the stage of being able to boot the boss. Hope you have a lovely day. This is Karen from Boot the Boss. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and don't forget to do the little ding dong thing so you get notified when there's a new video. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you soon.